quickly, before we get into some of the details here, as you can see, we're going to talk more specifically, not only in the Medicare direction, but we're going to talk more specifically about a product called Senior's Choice. Now, we're here from Insurance Advisors Direct. We're a national FMO, but we actually happen to be the national wholesaler for the Senior's Choice Group Retiree Medical Product. So anytime you may be working with this product or you may choose to work with this product in the future, you will be essentially working with our office. We're responsible to work with you to help out with quoting of this product, new business, coming out and helping with presentations, presentation material, marketing material, really any and all things that you or your organization would need to be successful in working with this product, Senior's Choice, that we're going to be talking about today. And you'll also see on this screen, as in some screens later, some contact information where you can call our office, get any additional materials or information emailed or sent out to you, and we have a whole team dedicated here at our office and all over the country working with independent agents and organizations who represent this Senior's Choice product. So again, we're excited. If you've been working with this product for a while, we thank you for the business and thank you for the relationship, and we look forward to continue to grow with you. If you're new to this product, we hope you take away some great new ideas about an exciting product that really everyone should have in their portfolio. So with that, we're going to get into some details. Now, just understand that our organization, we do heavily focus in the senior life and health market. Because of that, we understand many different products that play a significant role with your clients when you're out there talking to persons who are in the senior population, or more specifically, 65 and older when they're getting into Medicare age. And we're very, very familiar with both the individual products within the Medicare Supplement, Medicare Advantage space, the group products for all different size groups. So when you talk to us, when you talk to our team, when we're helping to do some discovery on some potential opportunities that you might have, just understand that we work within those worlds. That's our world on a daily basis. I started selling long-term care and Medicare supplement products 21 years ago, and I've actually worked with this same Senior's Choice product for over 17 years now. So we have a lot of experience with this particular product, and we're going to get into some details on what it is, but more importantly, how you can use it, where you can market it, and where the true opportunity lies, maybe beyond the borders of what you're currently selling today, if that happens to be individual Medicare supplement, Medicare Advantage products. And just to answer your question, yes, we're still on the title page, so we're actually going to move on from that right now, and we're going to get into this presentation and talk to you a little bit about the opportunity. Now, before we get too deep into the opportunity with this product specifically, for those of you who may be newer to Medicare, essentially what we're trying to show is that there is a huge need for agents to be working with senior products or Medicare products. You know, we talk to agents all over the country. We work with agents, train agents all over that have different backgrounds. Maybe that is true with you. Maybe you are more of an under 65 group producer. Maybe you're more of an individual producer within the under 65 market, or maybe more supplemental plans, or maybe you do some Medicare. But because many of you with us today are coming from different backgrounds, different experience levels, different knowledge base, what we try and show is that there is a huge need and a huge opportunity for agents either who are in the Medicare industry today or those considering getting into the Medicare industry. You can see this population, how significantly the growth is and will continue to be all the way till 2030, when there's an estimated 79 million people that will need some solutions from someone like yourself. So why is that important? Well, not only is it important because it presents a huge business opportunity for you, but it also means that you need to be well equipped, well informed, and educated on the best solutions for your clients and your prospects that you'll be meeting with. So let's talk for a moment about what exists out there and who your audience specifically is. Now, you see some hands going up here. Maybe if you just want to type in this box to comment, what type of products are you primarily involved in? Are you mainly selling under 65? Are you doing Medicare? Are you doing individual? Are you doing group? So maybe just type in there. Let's hear what everyone out there with us today is primarily focused on. Okay, so I see some group health. All right, so we'll keep moving, but no doubt these are a variety. We see some additional individual. Okay, perfect. So within today's audience, obviously you guys may cover some or all of what we're going to talk about, and that's perfect. We see some doing MAPD, Med Subs. Okay. Great. Thank you, guys. Appreciate your feedback here. In addition to what we're going to be talking about on a group basis, and again, depending on which arena you're primarily focused in on, we do have, beyond this product today, some additional marketing and sales support. So if you feel this is new for you, if you feel you need some additional training, we have full sales and marketing kits and systems available to agents that are working with our organization for all of the product lines within the Medicare arena, from group to individual, from Medicare supplements, Medicare Advantage, to group retiree medical. So if you need some additional assistance, need some additional training, again, please don't hesitate to reach out to our office and we can talk to you about some of these additional selling solutions. Here briefly is one new website that we have had some great success with. We wanted to make you aware of this. Couple websites that you can look into, MedicareSalesPro.com. That is a trademark tool of ours where agents can actually have a Medicare site that looks like you, comes from you. It has been filed with the state departments of insurance, but essentially allows you and your clients to go through the whole interactive selling, quoting, and selling process. So if you have some additional interest in this, again, we try to make sure that our agents are well equipped to sell in the Medicare arena. So it's just some additional tools to be aware of. Now let's talk about where our audience is or where they may end up when you're talking to the Medicare, the pre-Medicare population. Now, this may differ. I know we have some with us today from various parts of the country, so this number can change. It can even change by state or within an area of a state. But on average, people turning 65 going on Medicare are making some decisions, either on their own or with the advice and the assistance of an advisor like yourself. We see currently 29% of that population choosing to go into some form of a Medicare supplement product, depending on the plan. We see 33%, and I do believe after our 2018 selling season, these numbers will be increased a little bit, but roughly 33% are choosing to go into a Medicare Advantage. Now we have 38% that are choosing to go with either a group or another option. And so what we're going to do today is talk to you about why these numbers matter. Because when you think about it, for those of you who commented or on that screen where we asked you to raise your hand, which of these pieces of the pie do you focus in on? Well, what we want to do today is show you how to be well equipped to really service every piece of the pie. Now, I work with agents, being that I've been in the Medicare arena for many, many years. I work with agents that have sold Medicare supplement for a significant amount of time, and maybe they didn't really get quite into the Medicare Advantage arena. So maybe if you're one of those, you can find that, hey, your portion of the population that may want to talk to you or may be interested in your products, if you're strictly doing Medicare supplements, might be very limiting. For those of you who came into the business maybe during the Medicare Advantage boom, when those first few years, when everybody was lined up at those tables wanting to enroll into a zero premium plan, and that's your expertise, see, if you're not as well informed or maybe not informed or informing your clients about Medicare supplement solutions, again, you're just taking over a sliver of the pie. And the same thing applies if you're only doing groups. So we want to talk to you about how to tap into the full potential of the Medicare marketplace and the full potential of the solutions available to those people. So what happens when people are getting close to 65? Well, I'm sure if you're out there talking to these people, you find that they can't wait to get to those Medicare benefits that they've worked for years and that they've earned. And there's a variety of reasons why, but many of those people over the last few years, see, they've gone through this transition in the health insurance arena. And what they've seen is when the new Obamacare plans came out, they were under 65, weren't quite eligible for those benefits yet. They all of a sudden found themselves now being hit with increased premiums, maybe less benefits or smaller networks or higher max out-of-pockets, higher individual and family deductibles. Would everyone agree with that? See, that's true. That's what we and our clients have been faced with. So ultimately, that urgency for them to get to Medicare more quickly was that much more important. You know, and I'm sure you have your own examples, but I know I have my own personal examples of both family members, friends, clients that for maybe 2-3 years with maybe some chronic conditions or illnesses or maybe surgeries or knee replacements, things that unfortunately take place to people who get a bit older, unfortunately they were spending tens of thousands of dollars out of pocket to get those services. So obviously their excitement to get to Medicare was real, and we can understand why. So here they are. They've reached this figurative finish line because now they're 65. They've got their Medicare Part A and B benefits. They're all excited that their costs are going to go down. And then what happens? Well, I'm sure you know what happens if you're in this market. Your clients, from about 11 months out to the day they turn 65, they start being bombarded with marketing and advertisements. If it's even close to the AEP selling season, they're getting commercial after commercial of, Medicare, Medicare Advantage. So you walk into their home, or maybe they walk into your office, and what do they have? Well, they have a whole pile of mail, invitations, guide booklets, and things that they just don't understand. Am I right? And so now they have to hope that if it's you they're sitting in front of or another advisor, that you're equipped to handle the needs that they have, the concerns they have, and are able to not only properly advise them and educate them on their benefits, but also educate them on the solutions that make the most sense for them. But marketing is difficult. I have a friend that owns a lead company, and he tells me all the time that most agents in the Medicare arena usually try to target the turning 65 market. Now, there are some good reasons for that, absolutely. We're not discouraging that, of course, but we just want to show you how much bigger this opportunity can be when you look at all aspects of it. He tells me that he sees the turning 65 market like a fish tank. And here you have a fish tank with a bunch of fish in it, and you take a few little pieces of food and sprinkle it to the top. Well, what happens? All the fish come surging up to the top just to grab those few pieces of food. But there's just not enough to go around, and that's kind of this turning 65 market. Is the fish or the agents going after such a small market that though in scope, national scope might be a big number, you see with all the advisors out there, it shrinks pretty quickly and it becomes a pretty crowded space. Everyone's trying to get the attention of the person turning 65. But what we forget is that those people may have been preparing for this for some time. Maybe they've been making decisions or talking to family members, friends, or other advisors prior to that. Maybe they've gotten some referrals to people they should be talking to. Or maybe if they're past 65, 66, 67, they're almost in the land of the forgotten. Nobody talks to them anymore. They might see a commercial occasionally, but they don't get any more lead cards. They don't get any other communication, and maybe their agent disappeared, and they're essentially kind of on their own, hoping that that plan is what's good for them today is also good for them in the coming years. So again, that's what we see going on in marketing when it comes to Medicare. And let's face it, if you're trying to build an organization and a book of business in Medicare from the ground up, not only does it take a lot of hard work, but it can take a lot of money to build that book of business. So the marketing expenses, the acquisition costs can sometimes be high. So they get into your office. Let's say they're in front of you. Now some decisions have to be made. Now you have to be equipped with what solutions exist. So they may be talking about, are they part of a group or are they on their own as an individual? What makes the most sense? Is a Medicare supplement? Is a Medicare Advantage type product? If so, which plan? What network makes sense? What drugs are they taking? They know they have to have some RX coverage, whether it's through an MAPD or through a standalone PDP. But there's a lot of decisions that need to be made, and you need to, of course, be equipped to talk to them and educate them in those matters. But some questions to consider when we talk about the marketing aspect of your business and acquiring new clients is how are you attracting those people? If they're rushing to that finish line, if their goal is to get to Medicare, and they know they need to buy something else. I remember the early days when most people didn't believe they needed something else. They thought Medicare Part A and Part B was sufficient. Well, fortunately, through the years of education, through maybe the introduction of Medicare Advantage, many people are now reprogrammed to the fact that they just need to buy something else. They know they have some gaps in coverage, and they just need to find a qualified person to help guide them to those solutions. But how do you get your name out there? How do you get your card in their hand? So think about what are some of the ways we can do this. Well, we know a lot of agents will use still direct mail. It's still a very predictable, cost-effective way to get in front of people. Maybe you have an office with some good walk-in traffic. That's great. Maybe you work off of strictly referrals. Maybe you've built up a large business over a number of years, and that keeps you plenty busy. Those are, I'm sure we would all agree, the best kind, right? Maybe you do some seminars or do some additional marketing with various channels that we have available to us, like social media. Maybe you're a little more tech savvy and you get into some TV or radio or something else. Now, if you have anything that you find works great for you, please feel free to type that in, and I can mention that to the group. But essentially, I think these would probably cover the majority of what we're either utilizing or what we know to be out there. But what's the best way? Well, I think we would all agree that if you can get in front of all of the other agents, all of the other marketing companies, all of the TV commercials, you're probably doing a good job. Wouldn't you agree? If I were to ask you which of these would be your preferred method, would you like to be the person on the left that's probably getting a one-on-one introduction to those clients, or would you want to be the one on the far right who's just trying a number of things that are unproven, looking for that needle in the haystack? Well, of course, I think we would all agree that we want to be the person on the left getting those formal, informal introductions prior to all the noise that we see going on in the middle slide here. So today, when we talk about this opportunity, we're going to do more than just talk about product. Of course, we're going to get into product, but we're going to spend some time talking about a product that actually makes your marketing efforts better. It makes you a better marketer, and it gets you those introductions before the rest of the noise. It's going to put you in front of those people, your prospects, earlier. We're going to talk about a product that's more versatile, has better product offerings, has a more customizable approach. We're going to talk about how this translates into greater sales opportunities. Not only greater sales, but how can you grow your sales and scale your sales beyond your own abilities. See, that's not easy to do in an individual marketplace or product. So we're going to talk to you about how this can grow your business. We're going to talk about why these products have greater persistency, greater residual income, and then, of course, the most important, how all of this translates into a happier client, a better experience for your customer with a better solution. So let's go into some of the options within the group arena, because though we're going to talk to you about how this fits in an individual market, so if you're not a group producer, please don't be scared off. Don't click end conference call. We want you to stay on this webinar. You're going to learn how this product can be useful even in an individual space. But we will also talk about small, mediums, and large groups and how you can attract those and get in front of those and how those might work. But within the group space, what we'll find is most agents out there, if they are introduced to some sort of group who is in need of some assistance, we find that most of those agents, if they are a group producer, they're probably initially thinking of either group retiree medical, which is what we're going to talk about today. They may talk about group MAPD, group Medicare supplement, or maybe it's a smaller group and they feel that an individual med sup or MAPD makes sense. Maybe the agent doing this is an individual producer and that's all he or she knows about. So here's some of what we're going to talk about, but we're going to talk about which one of these items makes the most sense. So let's keep going and get into how this product works to your advantage, how this is a better marketing tool for you. So we're talking about group retiree medical, and we're talking about who is eligible for these products. We're talking about persons with Part A and B of Medicare. That's who's eligible for this particular product. So again, when you're working with groups, there's different populations. There's some under 65. There's some that are under or over 65 still active. There's some that may have retired from a group or an organization and they're over 65. We're going to show you that this product can also be used in groups as small as one life or one person. And that's why I said that this product can be heavily used in even a small group or an individual setting. And because of that, there's also no minimum participation requirement. And we'll talk a little bit later about why that's important. Now, for this product, somebody must be 65 or older and have Part A and B of Medicare. Remember, Part A and B are going to be primary. This is going to be secondary, just like a supplement would be. This is going to be available to active or retirees from a group and their spouses. Now, this is subject to the TEFRA, non-TEFRA rules. If you're in the group space, you probably understand what I'm referring to. And in a little bit, we're going to talk quickly about TEFRA and non-TEFRA, how that works to your advantage, and what you can do about that. So that's who's eligible under this group retiree medical product. Now, when we talk about the types of groups or the individuals that could fit into this product, it's a pretty broad scope of who's eligible. So here are some of the groups that we see more frequently coming in with this product. We see, for example, corporations, all types of corporations. We see associations could actually sponsor these plans and make these available to their members. Now, when I say associations, what I'm saying is that our product allows associations to sponsor the product. We do have to make sure that the state allows associations to sponsor a group product like this, but many of the states do. There has been some expansion on the association rules. So in those states that allow for it, we as a plan would allow associations to sponsor this. There are nonprofit organizations, religious organizations, municipalities have become a huge market and huge opportunities. We're working with agents all over the country. One of the biggest drains on these municipalities, the public sector, is essentially their retirement benefits. They're looking for solutions to save millions of dollars. This is a great way to do it. Unions, other government entities, anyone holding an occupational license. So think about you as an agent. You have a life and health license. Doctors, dentists, lawyers, real estate agents. Any occupational license that is held by an individual could be used to set a group up, and that individual could enroll into this plan. And again, later we're going to talk about why that makes more sense than some of the other traditional individual options. Hospitals can do this, school systems, and even we have a number of Native American tribes that will sponsor these types of products. So those are some of the eligible groups that we see coming into this plan on a constant, regular basis. So who do you market to? Well, we just talked about some specifically, but let's talk about, as I mentioned, that non-TEFRA, TEFRA rules, how they apply and how they can be used to your benefit. Well, if you're somebody who talks to small groups, let's say under 20 employees, with this product, those who would be eligible would be full-time employees who are 65 and older, part-time, or retirees and their spouses. So again, in this group, the interesting thing about this is you could actually force somebody in a small group like this who is sitting on the employer's group plan, you could actually force them to go into Medicare, Part A and B as primary, take this Senior's Choice product as their secondary supplement. And the reason why that's legal is because you are offering like for like or better benefits than what their group plan offers. Now, the great part about this, if you think about it, is you are putting them into a better situation than they were before. You're giving them their Medicare Part A and B as primary. You're giving them a supplement that picks up the rest, maybe everything. So you're giving them complete coverage at lower premiums. The other thing you're doing for that group is you are now lowering the average age of that group. You're now allowing that group better performance. So now everyone in the group can participate in lower rates. And obviously an employer in that situation, if you were to help do that, would be a tremendous benefit to them, and they're going to be a happy client of yours, and they're obviously going to refer additional business. And you may get that other business out of them. As a matter of fact, this is a solution that we see some active group agencies using to go into their groups or go into new groups and to be more unique and to be prepared with a solution that they weren't being talked to about before. And in many cases with this solution and the significant savings that it brings, you can now get the other business from those groups, whether it's their under 65 group, maybe it's some of their supplemental or voluntary benefits. Obviously, you would have to have those conversations, but that opportunity we see come in regularly. Now we've got the over 20 employees, so that's the TEFRA group. Now technically the government says, well, if you are an employer, you have more than 20 employees, even those who are 65 and older, if they're active and eligible for the benefits, they have to be on your group plan as primary. So we do have to work within these rules, but that would mean that those who are part-time, not eligible for these group benefits, or their retirees and spouses would be eligible for this group retiree medical. Now, I'm not going to spend any more time on this because this does get a little complicated, but if you have some ideas, you have some opportunities, you have some groups you're thinking of, please give us a call. Let us know. We'll walk you through that and make sure that these groups are handled, how to handle them, and make sure that they're properly fit within one of these two groups, and then showing you what you can do with them. So, again, it's just the TEFRA, non-TEFRA rules. So why is this product an advantage? Well, we're going to go into details, but some of the key reasons why agents use these products is, one, it's a guarantee issue product. Guaranteed acceptance for the individual and the spouse. There is no underwriting, regardless of age, regardless of health. It has nationwide coverage. There's no networks. There's no need for referrals. Again, if you're familiar with the Medicare supplement space, it works just like that. So it supplements Medicare, which again, you can use your Medicare benefits anywhere. Now you're going to want to ask and make sure that that doctor accepts Medicare assignment, but ultimately that is accepted everywhere. We have supplemental, as I mentioned, Part A and B, no referrals, covers pre-existing condition, has some nice enhanced embedded benefits. It has an optional benefit package, which we're going to talk about in just a moment. Multiple plan design that's very flexible. Comprehensive Part D that we'll get into with no coverage gap. It has Part A and B deductible coverage. Also covers skilled nursing and foreign travel. So if you're used to an individual Medicare supplement type product, maybe like a Plan F that covers really just about everything, this is the type of product that we're working with here, again, for those individual small, medium, and large groups. So here is some of what the benefit design looks like. And we're going to just talk for a minute about the benefit package, how it can be used to your benefit, to the benefit of your clients. And as you can see at the top there, we have a nice, healthy deductible range all the way from a zero deductible on up to a $4,000 deductible. Now, we're going to talk in a moment just about rates and how these rates look, because usually when we're going through this, and being its guarantee issue and it's got all these other benefits built into it, most assume that it's extremely expensive, and it really is not. We'll talk about that in a moment. In addition to the deductibles, we have a copay plan, and then we have a no copay plan. So you could actually do a zero deductible, zero copay, no out-of-pocket expenses. The one copay that would remain is emergency room services. If somebody goes to an emergency room for a non-emergency and is not admitted, they would have a $100 copay. But that is the only copay or out-of-pocket expense that somebody would incur with this plan. Now, here's some of the things you could do with these deductibles or benefits. For example, zero deductible, zero copay. Well, again, that we cover excess charges, so that would look very similar to a Plan F. If we were to maybe go to the copay plan with zero deductible, well, that might look like a Plan N. How about if we did a zero copay and moved it up to a $150 deductible? Well, that would look similar to a Plan G. If we were to ratchet that out to $2,500, that would look like a high deductible F. Or if we moved that all the way to like a $4,000 deductible, hopefully some of you are thinking this, but that would look almost more similar to a Medicare Advantage plan. But the great part about this is, again, there's no networks like a Medicare Advantage. The other nice thing is when it comes to deductible, if you're not used to Medicare deductibles, essentially a deductible is a little different because it's not the money that you have to use or pay for up front. Remember, you always have Part A and B working for you up front. This is a secondary deductible after your Medicare benefits. So remember, after your Medicare Part B deductible is met, which also counts towards your plan deductible, once that's met, Medicare pays 80%. So really, your clients are only responsible for the 20% up to then your deductible limit. Now, we do see zero deductible, zero copay as being the most popular options brought into groups. But again, this can just show you how flexible this can be. The other nice thing is that regardless of your group size, even for 2 people, 3 people, you could offer 3 different plan designs. You're not locked into one plan design. So you could cater to the needs and the budget of that person specifically. So again, there is no limit on deductible copay benefit scenarios. And this just goes to show you some of the highlights that I just talked about. Now, one thing to keep in mind is all deductible options do include the Medicare Part B deductible, which this year is $185. So you'd be satisfying those 2 simultaneously. So, for example, if you did the $150 deductible, once you paid your $185 Part B, you've already met both, and you would then go into complete coverage, Medicare Part A, Part B, and this supplemental option. The next slide is just an example of how deductibles work. We won't get into this, I've touched on it already, but if you have some additional questions on how a Medicare group retiree medical deductible actually works, we can certainly get into more details there with you on a one-on-one discussion. As I mentioned, there are additional enhanced options that can be offered with this plan. You can take a comprehensive wellness benefit, private duty nursing, at-home recovery. You could even add skilled nursing coverage up to 365 days instead of just the 100 days offered by Medicare and another supplement. So again, you could take this to 1 year. Of no underwriting and actually a very minimal cost. So these are some of the benefits that really go above and beyond what we're used to on the standalone Medicare supplement side of the business. Now here is a slide, and we will be sending you this information that talks about each of those additional plan benefits and what the premiums are. Now I mentioned the skilled nursing, so you see that one at the top. That actually is $7.68 a month. So for $7.68, you can actually put your client into a plan that will pay up to 1 year for skilled nursing. Now, in order to qualify for these benefits, they still have to qualify under the Medicare definition of skilled care. But how nice is this for no underwriting to give them up to 1 year with a very, very low cost? Now we talk about, in addition to the benefits and the versatility, we can talk a little bit about the premiums and the versatility here. So again, we can use these book rates for small and large groups. And we're going to show you a sample rate sheet in just a moment. And of course, we'll be sending that to you. There are two different types of rate sheets, one no copay and one copay sheet. But you can use for small, medium, and large groups, you could use the book rate. Now, for larger groups, if we get over 25 lives, we can actually run a composite rate. So that would, of course, blend all ages into one rate. We have rates for various states, and just like a Medicare supplement works off of zip codes or counties, our plan also works off of zip codes. So you'd find the state, make sure that this plan is approved in that state. You'd find the zip code where the group is located, and that would establish the rates for everyone that's part of that group. It applies regardless of where they live, where they move to. Everyone is locked into that rate. And that's really important because what you're going to want to do is work with your groups to make sure that where that trust participation agreement is being signed is the most competitive rate class or area factor for that group, because that's what everyone will be bound to. So they may move to a state like New York or Florida or California where the costs are much more expensive with a standalone individual product, but instead they'll be paying that lower cost because that's where the group is established. So keep that in mind, but it's very important when you're dealing with groups of various sizes. How can the premiums be paid? Well, they can be paid a number of ways. They can be paid 100% by the retiree or the individual who's on the Medicare plan. They can be paid by the employer. So a company could write a check for the owner of the company. It's a tax benefit, and they can do that. They can pay the premiums with pension dollars. We have some groups that will split bill because maybe this person has a stipend based on their years of service. We'll send that portion of the bill to the employer, and we'll send the remainder of the bill to the retiree for them and their spouse. So very flexible on how the premiums can be paid. The other nice thing to keep in mind, which is much different than an individual Medicare supplement program, is there are no smoker, non-smoker rate classes. Everyone is part of the same rate class, and there are no female or male rate classes. Everyone is part of that same class. So again, making it much more competitive for some of those persons. Maybe if they're a male smoker, we know those rates can get pretty high. In this case, that would not apply. So here are some example premiums based on the area factors. Now, this happens to be a no copay plan, and you can see at the top there, it might be a little bit blurry, but you'll see the deductibles listed at the very top, and then you go down, you can see the ages, and that's essentially the premium that somebody would be paying to have that plan. Now, they don't have to permanently be stuck in that plan. This plan allows for year-round enrollment. So groups established, somebody decides to come into it middle of the year, there's no enrollment periods they have to wait for. They can enroll into this plan any month of the year. But what does happen is in October, when the open enrollment period begins with this plan, they would be given notice that they can now make adjustments. Either the group can make adjustments to the plan offers, or the individual can choose to take different benefits, change their deductibles, change their copay election, whatever they would like to do, they can do that. Now, if we look at the example at the bottom here, let's just say area factor 1, you can see the premium range would be $47.52 a month for someone if they chose the $4,000 deductible. And for somebody who chose the zero deductible, again, this is a no copay plan, so they would have really no out-of-pocket expenses. That premium would be $171.35 a month. So again, if you're coming from the individual Medicare supplement space, you probably recognize that benefit or that premium to be very similar to like a Plan F premium. Now, I know some of you in different states that may be used to higher premiums with your supplemental plans, that premium probably looks extremely attractive. And essentially, that's another reason why this plan functions so well and is so widely accepted by groups. Now, in addition to that, and here's one of the key components, when I talked about those smaller groups and forcing individuals into Medicare and then taking this plan because it's like-for-like benefits are better, this RX component is really one of the key factors to that, because what happens is this plan, our high-end plan, has straight copays throughout the year. There is no deductible, and essentially there is no donut hole. There's no coverage gap. So persons, even on high-cost specialty drugs, would strictly just pay a copay throughout the year. So again, if you're talking to people who have those high-cost drugs, spending thousands of dollars a month, if you find somebody who's going into the catastrophic coverage of their Part D sometime in the first half of the year or the first quarter, see, they could really benefit from a plan like this that has an extremely robust formulary designed to cover those high-cost medications and do it with just a straight copay. And again, even if those costs maybe are similar, what you're doing is you're spreading those costs out throughout the 12 months, making their out-of-pocket more predictable, and not having them, your clients, have to come up with such a large portion of dollars in those first few months until they get into catastrophic. So again, another reason why this plan works so well. Now, one question we get all the time, and just to address this, is you do not have to sell this RX plan with the medical. These plans all work independent of each other. You could sell just the RX plan. You could sell strictly the medical. You could sell just the dental vision part, or you could sell all three together. So that's really up to you and the individual who's enrolling into the plan. But these do not have to be linked together. As you can see, this optional benefits, they're hard to see. We'll be sending this to you. But ultimately, the PBM behind this product is Humana and has been for the last few years. And I know they will continue for the next few years according to the most recent contract that we had signed with them. So here is a sample of the trust participation agreement. And this is simply, when we get to the finer details of setting up a group, this is as simple as it gets. Just these 2 pages, identifying the group, where that group is being signed in, that zip code, that's how we establish the rates. When you send this trust participation agreement with the accompanying documents, we verify that it's an actual group. We now issue it a group number, and now you have an active group that you can start enrolling individuals into. So that's as simple as it is. It comes in the brochure. And so that's why we talk about with this product being so versatile. And I know you've heard individual MedSup or Medicare Advantage out of my mouth a few times, and ultimately it's because this plan can become so flexible that ultimately not only are you paying attention to this group portion of the pie chart, but if used properly, and if you get a little creative, again, a product like this helps you to now participate with this whole pie. And you might find that some of those borders come down. Maybe some of those people who are in those statistics, on those individual MedSups or Medicare Advantage plans, maybe they would be better served into a group retiree medical such as this. And one of the things I'd like to remind you, I talked a little bit about acquisition costs and lowering your marketing expenses. The other thing you're doing with a plan like this is if you think about your current client base or you think about your future goals and how many clients you'd like to see in the next 3 to 5 years, remember with a product like this, it allows you to grow that substantially without constantly having to somehow replicate yourself. What I mean by that is if you're out there selling individual products today, so your growth is limited to how many people you can see in a given day, week, and year and make a presentation to. With this product, you make a presentation to the group, HR manager, the association president, the whoever's in charge of determining benefits. You make the presentation to them. They choose to bring in this product, and now your enrollments will continue to grow without you even being there. As somebody retires, they're handed a packet that says, hey, here's your Medicare plan, here's what you're going to enroll into. Or depending on the group and the situation, your sales will continue to grow, and you don't always have to be in front of those people. So again, that's a way that one group can grow into a substantial amount of enrollments. We've seen little groups turn into hundreds of enrollments for agents with very little work on their own. Maybe they go out, maybe they do a seminar, or maybe the HR manager does most of the marketing for them. So there's a lot of ways that this could work to your benefit. And some of the reasons or additional reasons why this is of importance to you is because with the rates that we showed earlier, with the competitive rate structure and low rate increases that we've experienced for many, many years with this product, you're going to find that those groups stick. And the nice part about it is we pay a level commission for life on this product. So the longer those plans stay intact, the longer the groups stay around, really the better for you. You can focus your time and attention on other matters. So you'll see here on this next slide, here is what our new business rates or our renewal rates have looked like. And you'll see in some years we have not taken any rate increases. So when we talk about individual plans, we know most plans will take an annual increase, sometimes more than one increase if it's based on a birthday as well as their annual increases. And some carriers, those can become substantial. Now, some of the reason behind that is ultimately those plans are determining their rates in the state that it was filed, and they're basing it on the claims loss of that particular state. See, with this plan, what makes it so much more stable to keep your clients happy and intact for a longer period is essentially everyone participates in that trust as one group. So though you may have individuals enrolling from a variety of states, and maybe there's a few significant claims that creep in there, that's okay because it's not going to bring down the claims loss or bring up the claims loss ratio in that particular state. What you're going to find is that the rest of the population in this plan are doing a good job at offsetting those claims and, again, keeping your rates more stable, your clients' rates more stable, which, again, is going to make your clients happier. So another key factor when it comes to how this plan works and why it works better. So when you start looking at all the other solutions out there for the small, medium to large group, there are a variety of solutions. We work with them, and some are a better fit or some are just approved in a state where a group might be needed. But in many cases, we will show you in just a moment where this group retiree medical shines and why it works so much better. So you might want to be careful with some of the other solutions or immediately trying to take a group and put them into an individual solution. We would highly recommend spending the time looking at this group retiree medical. So again, just to recap, here's some of the strong points of a product like Senior's Choice. Tremendous rate stability, no networks. You can use any doctor hospital. It's got the optional benefit package that I described, the one with the skilled nursing out to 365. You have tax benefits that would be allowed. It's guaranteed issue for the individual and their spouse. Section 125 eligible. It's portable with people. Even if the group disappears, even if the company, let's say, goes out of business or is sold, that group, those members, everyone remains. Everyone can still enroll into that plan. This group does not disappear if it's set up prior to any of that occurring. So it'll always remain. We've got extensive Part D coverage, no coverage gap, lower premiums. Premiums can be paid by a company with pension dollars. There is no minimum participation. We'll take groups down to one life. And again, those premiums are based on where that trust participation agreement is signed. And as I mentioned, those groups will remain active indefinitely. So as you can see, not only is this a great plan, but there is a ton of opportunity out there for this type of product. Maybe you have some of these clients already. Maybe these are people you've been talking to, but certainly take a closer look at this solution because there are a lot of people who are still actively working past their 65th birthday. Maybe they could roll into a plan like this. There are a lot of municipalities and other organizations that are going through tremendous changes because of the cost of their retiree packages. They need to look at something like this. I think we brought on a group a year ago. It was a smaller group, 51 lives. We were able to save that group. We condensed their 7 group offerings down to 1, which was the Senior's Choice product. And annually we saved them $750,000 a year from what they were previously paying. And that's just one small group example. Imagine if you multiplied those 50 lives 2-3 times over, what kind of savings these groups could be experiencing. Again, there's rising costs out there, unstable environment with certain group and health insurance plans. So certainly this could be a huge solution for people. But again, it's a lesser known solution. It's one you need to know about and need to know when to use and when it's appropriate. So again, that was really the purpose of today's meeting, is to make sure that we showed you about this tremendous solution that's not as well known. Even though this plan has been around more than 25 years, again, it's relatively a new concept and a new idea. So that's why I applaud all of you for coming out today, taking your time to spend this hour with us to hear about this product and this great sales opportunity. Now, to make things a little bit easier, we do have some additional marketing pieces. We have a small, medium, and large group brochure that could be branded to your agency that you could take into some of your meetings that describes some of these benefits we've talked about today. We also have a PowerPoint presentation that could be personalized to you or your agency that you could use to go into some of these groups or give on a one-on-one type basis. So if you're not quite familiar or comfortable enough to think that you could just walk in and give a presentation, don't worry. We do have the tools, or we have the expertise in your area where we can. If it's scheduled in and for the right size group, we'd be more than happy to join you and go in and help make some of these presentations for you. So ultimately, with solutions like this that make sense for people, that really do fill a void that we've seen in the market for many, many years, you're going to find setting yourself apart. You're going to get in front of more people. with a unique solution like this, and ultimately with the benefits and the sustainability and the low rate increases, ultimately you're creating a better environment for your client, which is going to make them a lot happier. So again, that is the end of our presentation. We appreciate everyone's attendance. We can take another minute here. If you have a question, if you'd like to type something in, we can spend a couple of moments answering those questions. If you're not able to stay over, we understand. One of our Seniors Choice Medicare experts will be following up with you by email and phone pretty quick after this meeting. And we ask you just to have those questions ready or ask them, how they can better assist you. So do we have any questions before we end this? So we did have a question. Bob asked, how do we find these under 20 employee companies? Well, there are a number of ways that you can identify those. Even if you were to go to some lead or list companies, they will be able to narrow down groups, sizes of under 20 employees. There's even ways you can do it on LinkedIn. You can target small groups of less than 50 employees or up to 10 employees. You can focus in on HR managers. Actually, we did a presentation a couple weeks ago with an expert who talks about social media and how to use LinkedIn. So there's a few ways that you can get in front of those groups. Obviously, if you already have a relationship with those groups, that's the easier way to do that. But there are other ways to get in front of those small employers. Alan asks, if a couple were on an MA plan, became ill, and want the equivalent of a Med Sup Plan F, can they join an association group, etc., rather than prior employers? So I think what you're asking, Alan, is if they're already dealing with some health conditions, they want to get into a plan like this that may offer more complete coverage, can they do so? The answer would be yes. If they can come in through an association that has sponsored a plan like Seniors Choice, or if they can come in through their employer, there's a number of different ways you can come in. And this question actually brings up somewhat of a unique sales solution or marketing avenue that you have. So one of the examples I use is a municipality. So, for example, when Detroit was going through their bankruptcy, Detroit had a plan that they wanted to offer through Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan. Well, we were able to get to that same group through one of their associations. So, for example, the Detroit Police and Fire were one of them. They didn't like the group solution, so the Detroit Police and Fire sponsored this product and brought this in so that their membership could have the option of it. So though you may not be able to get into the front door of some of these groups, sometimes you can go into the side or back door, and those people can now be eligible for a plan like this. Now, the one thing that I would say to that is just be careful. Obviously we want to make sure that these plans stay healthy, so we wouldn't want to purposely put unhealthy people on them. But of course, because it's guarantee issue, we can take those people without going through underwriting. A couple other questions. Can this be sold at any time during the year or just at Medicare enrollment? Great question, Katie. The answer is it is a year-round product. So the group can be set up at any time during the year, and at any time during the year, somebody can sign an enrollment form or be placed into the plan. There is no specific open enrollment period for new people coming into the plan. Now, what this plan does have is an open enrollment period during the last quarter. The group would receive notice, the individuals would receive notice who already are in the plan, that if they wanted to make any plan changes or benefit changes, they can do that during that period of time. But if they're just signing up to get into the plan, you can do that year-round. You can do that every single month. Alan, can a church start a group? Yes, churches can start a group. Technically, if the church starts a group, it is to be made available to those employed by the church, and not necessarily just the members of the church. But again, I can get into more detail with you on the side if you would like to discuss that, Alan. All right. Before we wrap up, any other questions? These have all been great questions. I appreciate this. Looks like we have a big audience on with us today. So with that, I'm going to conclude. It looks like we're at our time for the day. So we appreciate you coming out. We look forward to having additional conversations with all of you in the near future, in the next coming days. So please, questions, anything you have, let us know, and we'll be here to work with you to get you acquainted with this product and to also help you with your groups in identifying what those opportunities are. So again, thank you everyone very much. Have a great rest of your day, and we look forward to working with you in the near future.